The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 25th day of August, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ian and Leanna Lambert, who will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Happy Hump Day, Kales. What's happening?
Happy Hump Day. Let's get it.
It's technically the middle of the first school week for your boys. How's it going on that front?
It's going good. It's so funny because Javi, obviously, he has a uniform, but he also has a gym uniform, and he had no clue what gym even was. So yesterday, he had to wear his gym uniform. This is so big. Why is this so big? Why would you buy this so big? And I'm like, because you got to grow into it, you know? And then I said, so what did you do at gym? I didn't have gym. I'm like, did you run? Yes, let me show you. And so then I go, because you know they do jumping jacks, right? So I'm like, did you do jumping jacks? And he shows me his version of jumping jacks. I just had to cackle because 4 and 5-year-olds, they don't know how to do jumping jacks. They look like a bird.
you please tell me you're capturing this on video to show him when he's 20 years old.
I'm going to make him do it again. I do try to video most things because it's just the hilarity of it all.
When he's 20, son, this was you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, put that away, embarrassing him around his friends.
Oh, I do it. It's so funny because yesterday at dinner for my Nana's birthday, Amari looks at me and he goes, can you please stop putting me on Instagram? I said, I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, someone showed me your Instagram that had photos of me from the first day of school. I would prefer you not post me.
I guess he put mama in her place.
Listen, and all I could do is go, okay.
See,
sure, because he's 13. What, like?
See, my wife gets in trouble from her mom for posting like on Facebook, so I'll snitch. I'll be like, "Hey, mom, Nikki put a picture of you on Facebook and show Nikki." But yeah, I'm like that. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as Zach Moniz returns from Lindo's for a discussion, and boy, you don't want to miss this. Always a good conversation with Zach. The Daily Play is a say it, don't sing it, and folks, I was joking yesterday when I said we're gonna stump. We really have Michaela stumped today. I'm serious this time. We've got
it. Okay, we'll see.
We've got her. All right. We're gonna get right to the conversation, and it's a hot one today. So we were privileged to have Tamara Richardson from People's Pharmacy join us on very short notice yesterday to discuss the rising cost of business in Bermuda from a business owner's perspective and an entrepreneur perspective. Today, I want to take a turn, and the question of the morning is very simple. Do Black people have an obligation to support Black businesses? So that's the question for the audience. Do you feel that Black people have an obligation, have to go out and support Black people? Or it could be your friends or family. Do you feel that should be just a right?
You want me to go?
I feel like you were holding your lips like, no, don't do it, Michaela. Don't do it, Michaela.
All right. So my answer to this question is no. My answer is no. But I will say this. I wholeheartedly support Black businesses. However, I only support Black businesses that are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am not going to support a Black business just because it's a Black business.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, when I think of everywhere that I buy from, or every business that gets my money. So I said yesterday, People's Pharmacy. I've been shopping at People's Pharmacy for as long as I can remember. My dad was the manager when I was a child. I used to work there in my early teens. Like, it's excellent. I go there. My doctor, my dentist, my OBGYN, my hairdresser, my nail tech, the place I go to get my massage and my pedicures. All of these are Black businesses because I choose to support them because they are excellent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Now, I will say, do I actively seek out Black businesses? Yes, I do. I do actively seek out Black businesses. So like I've said before, all the makeup that I wear is Black owned businesses. They're in the US, but they're made by Black women. And I actively seek out those kind of businesses. However, the minute that you think I'm going to support you just because you're Black and you're unprofessional, or your service is garbage, or your product is not excellent, we're done. I'm not coming back. End of story.
Point made. Point made. That's the question of the morning. Do Black people have an obligation to support Black businesses? Nachika Trot says, no, I don't. Cherie Dill says, yes. Angeline Butler says, good point, Michaela. Terry Too Cool says, no, we don't have an obligation to support. She goes on to say, we should be in the habit of supporting them if they give great service.
Yes.
And she also goes on to say, we should want to circulate the Black dollar to build wealth in our community.
Agree.
Well, I want to just go on the back of what Michaela said in that respect. I don't think we are obligated to support anyone or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I purposely thought we should use the word obligation because of the type of entitlement that some people have. Now, I'm going to use this show for an example. I don't believe we should be seeking Black businesses, white business. We should be seeking partners that align with what we're trying to do.
Yes.
I don't want to look at what we're doing as a Black show. I want to look at it as a community show. So to answer the question, do Black people have an obligation? No. At the end of the day, people have the right to spend their money how they choose. And for me, I'm going to go on the back of what Michaela said in terms of service, but also if the price is right. And that doesn't mean cheap or the least expensive, but if I see value in the dollar that I'm spending, then okay.
Yeah.
But one of the harshest lessons I learned, and it came from a client of mine, the worst thing a lot of Black people do is start businesses relying on family, friends, and other support.
That's like shooting yourself in the foot.
You are doomed for failure.
Yeah.
Right? No, we can have an intent. And I think that's what you were saying. And Terry, and I think Cherie actually says it right here, not obligated to support, but should actively seek out. We should, with intent, look to say, you know what? Is there a Black business out there that we can support first? If not, then we go to the others. No. If that business, Michaela, doesn't meet the criteria that you mentioned, then we are well within our right to go elsewhere. Yeah?
Absolutely. And this is the thing. I want to make it very clear. My answer to the question is no. However, I actively seek Black businesses to support in my corporate life, in my personal life, in my business life. So for instance, the graphic designers that I work with, it is a Black owned company. The majority of the photographers that I work with, Black owned. Videographers, Black owned. When I do events, I actively hire excellent, and excellent is the word, excellent Black owned companies. And now when I say that, I'm not sitting here and saying that other businesses that aren't owned by Black people don't need to be excellent. They do. I have very high standards. Extremely high standards. So if I'm going to hire you and I'm going to give you my money, I expect excellence, because as a fellow business owner, when you spend money with me, you get excellence. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I want to support Black businesses. I always want to. So for instance, for Cut Match, needed to figure out something to wear. Instead of going into like, Gibbons Company or whatever, I immediately went to Touche because they have great service, great products, great prices, happens to be a Black owned company. I know that they're going to deliver for me. I know it's going to be excellent, but I don't want that to be confused with, oh, well, I need a caterer. And so because you're Black, I'm going to hire you. No.
Right.
No.
No, if the food's crap, we're not going there. No.
Listen, and it's happened. So no.
Yeah. Let's put to some comments. Laverne Amanda Kelly says, no, we are buying or paying for a service, period, or a product. Yes, she's correct. Jeanette Bell, Michaela.
I agree with Michaela. I would support Black businesses that provide great service. However, I do not feel obligated. That's the thing. Like, I hired Shawnette to do a scavenger hunt for my sister's bachelorette some years back, and she came highly recommended because her service is excellent. And it was just a plus that she happened to be a Black woman.
Yeah, indeed. Sam Cat Place says, preach, Michaela, spot on. It's your money. The Black business owner should not just give mediocre and lackluster business. They will be the first complaining that someone else's service was bad, so they should emanate excellence.
Yeah.
Terry, too cool, Michaela.
One thing's Kale standards are high. Listen, my standards are stupid high, and they will stay that high. I will not budge on those standards.
All right, I was going to say something. I was going to say, if they don't know, now they know, right? Angeline Butler says, people who support Black businesses should not want to always get a break. Just another twist to those who support these businesses. Well, interestingly enough, I may have shared it in our group this morning, a story that was floating on Facebook about something similar to that. But that is a concern as well. Like, treating, as the consumer, treating them like a real business, especially if they're operating like one. If you're getting that quality service and it's a quality product that you want, well, why are we looking for breaks? This is on both sides.
Yes, I agree 100%. So for instance, my sister Samela, she has a business called Crowned by Sam. I think that's what it's called. I'm probably saying it wrong. Anyway, she's a hairdresser. She's been my hairdresser for 10 years, okay? I've rocked with her for 10 years. She's cut my hair in her house. She's cut my hair in my house. Now she has a wonderful shop front. I go get my hair cut. I don't expect a discount. I don't expect any break. I expect her to treat me with the same level of professionalism that she treats every other client. And I tip her the same as if I go to any other hairstylist. So it's like, we have to stop thinking of Black businesses as like friends and family. And one of the best things that I saw years ago was everybody want their friends or family or Black businesses to give them a discount. Are you asking Michael Jordan to give you a discount when you buy Jordans? You are not. Like, you are not. So no. I demand excellence. You give excellence. Fair transaction.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Michaela. No matter who it is, right? I don't like things for free. I don't like people giving me stuff. Unless you're my parents, like growing up, I did not want anything given to me in that respect.
Right.
When it's another business, whether it's a barter or something, I just believe in giving value. In doing this show, I always say, we have multiple sponsors and partners with this show. We're not a charity.
We are not.
We wake up, we do a lot of work. I use Liana because she's the best example. You only see Liana 3 to 5 minutes a day. That 3 to 5 minutes, it doesn't take 3 to 5 minutes to put that news break together. It takes a lot of time to do that. So this is not, it's not charity. This is work. There's value. There's making sure we're delivering a quality product and service to the audience on a daily basis that they can take something away from.
Absolutely.
Cherie Deal, Michaela.
Personally, I feel we should do everything in our power to keep our dollars circulating within our community before returning it to other communities. Ultimately, it will serve us better in the long run. People should take pride in service in general, but that's a different conversation. So I agree with this, and I say this in terms of when I think about events, so we're talking about weddings, we're talking about big parties, etc. That's when I get frustrated because I cannot spend all my dollars in Black-owned businesses for those things. So when we think about venues, there aren't any Black-owned venues. When I think about restaurants, I love to eat out. That's like my number one hobby. I rarely eat at Black-owned restaurants because there aren't any. I'm not talking about takeout. I'm talking about sitting in a restaurant.
Right.
Aside from like White Horse, I go to White Horse, but there aren't any. So when we're talking about large scale functions, like Flowers by Jimmy, that's a great example of a Black owned excellent business that you can use for events. Obviously, there are Black caterers, but when we're talking about the bulk of it, it's not going to go to Black owned businesses. And that's the unfortunate side, because in my experience, when I do have large functions and whatnot, I do hire Black owned excellent businesses, and it's wonderful. So if I had that option for everything, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. Terry Too Cool says we also need to continue to give them reviews and put their names out there when they do well. And this is another conversation, conversation, but I guess it goes as we speak about reviews. I never cared until I met my wife. I had never come across someone who, I guess, used Yelp reviews and all those.
Oh, yeah, I do.
That's huge, right? And so she's got me on that. But then Bermuda's version, you've got the Magus list and these list, and I'm just not sure they're quite the same. But Cherie goes on to say, and it's concerning that when people talk about Black business, that the assumption seems to be you have have to accept mediocre and lackluster service. In 2021, you should not have to give up value and support a Black. This right here is key. I think this is what Michaela was saying earlier. As a Black business, we have to do more than be Black. You have to do more than be Black, folks.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, like I remember reading, I can't remember what it was on, I have no clue, but there was a woman, she was getting married and she was in the PR event space. So she was talking to her colleague who did events as well for recommendations for florists in the area. So the girl came back, the first person, she was Black, the second girl, she was white Jewish. And she came back with a whole list of Black owned florists that were probably up to 90 minutes away. And so the Black girl was like, well, it doesn't have to be Black owned. Like, why would it need to be Black owned? And the Jewish girl said to her, my mother would never allow me to spend this amount of money with a non-Jewish company. She said, you should be out here spending your money with Black-owned florists because that's how you keep the wealth. That's how you keep the money circulating. And the girl was just saying how it was such an eye-opener because she hadn't thought about it like that. And that just goes back to Cherie's point. Yes, I want the money circulating in the community, but I also want excellence.
There's so many angles to take this from. And Kenton Trott raises another angle about the obstacles placed in front of small Black business prevents us from growing to the large businesses required to own property and assets. And again, there's so many different angles. There's the angle of, when Black businesses start, they have the great service, the product, but other Black people don't want to support them because they don't want to see someone, they know doing better than them. There's so many different
crazy
on this, but I mean, I want to wrap it up by saying this much. I definitely want to support Black businesses, but I'm not supporting any business just because they're Black. I'm supporting that business because I see value in what they have and what they're offering, and it makes sense for me. I don't eat beef or pork, so I'm not. If you've got a burger joint and all you have is beef and pork, no, I can't support you. Right? It's not going to align with what I do. No, if you had a fish joint, whatnot, and I ate there once and it didn't enjoy it and the service sucked, I'm not going to support you again. However, if it was great, the service was great, I'll be back. Not only will I be back, but I will actually encourage others to support you. And that's all business should be. That's what you should be looking for. Remove the title business and just provide a quality business with great service, awesome product, and I guarantee you longevity will be on your side.
Absolutely agree 100%. And that's why I said, like, the makeup brands that I use, they're the Black companies. I love them. The service is great. I tell everybody about them. And we had this conversation when Perry Ferbert was on, and it's just like, support it because it's excellent and because it's Black.
Indeed. Let's bring Leanna into the convo. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I am great. What a great topic this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to answer the question?
No. I'm gonna no, and not because I don't wish to answer the questions. I really feel like I will be mimicking everything you both just said. I agree with everything. No, we do not have an obligation. I have to admit that I'm just like you guys, a stickler for great service. And to be completely honest, I went into, I think it was ER Aubrey Jewelers, I think it was last week. And when I say I received the best customer service ever, now I don't believe it's Black earned, but however, it's great customer service. That's what matters to me. That goes a long way, and that's the reason I will continue coming back. So in regards to our own and them having their own business, of course, I would support if I feel as if I'm receiving that great service that's deserving of my hard-earned dollars.
Hello.
Yeah, it's real. We can't just be giving our hard-earned dollars away just to every and anybody. All right.
No.
But no, I must say, I didn't even think ER Aubrey's was still open. Like, I remember I used to see ads of them everywhere. Like, seriously.
Yes,
so
they are
still open. I know it was a nice lady worked there. I used to work with years ago. But let's go to the news break, Lee, and hopefully you have some good stuff on this hump day. And don't forget, after the news break, folks, we're gonna give you the movement moment today as well with Tamara. We're gonna have that after our guest, which is Zach Moniz from Lindo's. Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamal and Michaela. Happy hump day to everyone that's tuned in with us. We've made it to the middle of the week. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Liana Lambert, and it's time for our daily hour news break. Now, in today's top stories, a 68-year-old woman was found dead in a Hamilton park yesterday. Police say emergency services attended the Queen Elizabeth Park off Hamilton's Queen Street about 2:15 p.m. Now, on arrival, medical services found that there were no signs of life present and that the woman was confirmed dead at the scene by a police medical doctor. Now, a portion of the park was cordoned off while forensic experts examined the scene. Inquiries into the sudden death continue, and police say that foul play is not suspected at this time. Additional information regarding the incident would not be released until the next of kin were notified. In other news, more than 40 new coronavirus cases have been recorded in the span of 4 days, health officials announced last night. Now, the 42 new cases brought the number of active corona infections up to 141, with 5 people in hospital, up from 1 on Friday. 1 person remains in the hospital's intensive care unit. Now, officials say that 118 of those active cases were of the Delta variant of the coronavirus. 17 cases cannot be determined, and 6 were not available. All of the active cases, 33, are under investigation. The news sparked a fresh warning about safety precautions to cut the spread of infection, with particular attention to the risk of the on-the-job spread of the coronavirus. A ministry spokesperson reminded the community that your bubble is your household, and socializing outside of that bubble can contribute to workplace spread. Meanwhile, the Bermuda Tourism Authority seems to be shaking things up with the announcement of hiring a Bermudian to raise international awareness of the island as a tourism destination, while a second marketing expert who has her roots in Bermuda will be responsible for promoting the island in the UK and Europe regions. Boston-based agency Proverb, founded and managed by Darren Bascom, is taking on the role to develop a new brand study for the island, integrating local and international expertise to provide recommendations that will guide the island's tourism strategies over the next several years. Meanwhile, MMGY Hills Balfour will service Bermuda's UK and European market needs and has been tapped to amplify the new brand messaging for the region. Local advertising agency AAC will also serve as the local support for the brand study led by Proverb. BTA CEO Charles Jeffers II said he was confident the appointments will help Bermuda reclaim its place as a leading tourism destination. Now, he said, quote, "The BTA is focused on authenticity and telling our story in ways that truly reflect who we are and what we have to offer in ways that connect with our visitors across the world," end quote. And if you're in the city this evening, tonight is the finale of the Harbor Nights this year. There will be a 360-degree photo booth, spin to win wheel with prizes and free giveaways, plus so much more. Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Commerce, Candace Burgess, is encouraging everyone to come out and support the finale of the island's weekly street festival. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 86 and a low near 78 degrees. It will be another sunny and hazy day with the chance of a passing shower or two. High pressure quickly regains dominance and will provide mostly sunny days and partly cloudy nights to the end of the week. We will continue to monitor a broad trough of low pressure to the very distant southeast for potential tropical development as it slowly tracks towards our distant east by the weekend. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back to Jamal and Michaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Lee. Hurricane season. We need to do something about this. There's always something out there developing or not developing. And
I don't want new parts of it.
I have to say that this year, like still knock on wood, has
Knock
been
on wood,
excellent.
boo.
Like it's
It's
the
early
end of
August. No,
We
knock
have
on wood.
we've barely had a breeze. Like, I mean, we've had a bit
Listen.
of rain, but it's been a great year.
You better knock on wood because I'm here knocking on wood because I don't want none
I'm
of
knocking
it.
on wood.
Okay.
I gotta find wood. There we go.
Lee, it's still early. You know, Bermuda.
Yeah.
I do. I might have spoken too soon.
Yeah,
Knock hard.
let's keep it positive. No, none of that stuff here. But Lee, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely. See you later, guys.
Bye,
All
Lee.
right. Thanks so much to Liana for that. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. An important conversation with our good friend Zach Moniz immediately following this.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show, Michaela Ian. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, our good friend Zach Moniz from Lindo's. Welcome to the show, Zach.
Morning, guys. How are you today?
Morning. We're good. How are you?
I think Leanna just gave us the announcer's kiss of death.
Listen.
It's only like it's not even September yet. What you talking
Exactly.
about? All the major storms come September, October.
I try to get it to change
Sure.
that tone, Zach. I'm like, no, Lee, don't do it.
I knocked extra hard on my desk just now.
I saw you.
Listen.
Well, look, let's get into the convo. First of all, thank you. I want to thank Lindo's for being a partner of this show, and we appreciate the partnership aligning with what we're trying to do in the community. But just explain to us why charity and community service is so important to Lindo's.
Yeah, you know, you guys are talking about supporting the Black community in your question. I think it's, our community encompasses everybody, right? And I think it's really important to try to support as many as you can. When you look at what charities do for us in the community and who represents or who is taking advantage of the charities that are in the community, it's all of us, right? And I think at Lindo's we recognize that, and we're it's just a space that we need to be in. I think we've got to do our part, and that's what we aim to do.
And I want to, it's interesting you mentioned that, because one of the continuations of today's conversation is people mentioning the black dollar circulating in the black community. But I think the bigger part, and it's on the back end of yesterday's conversation with Tamara, and probably we'll touch on it with you, is actually keeping that dollar circulating in Bermuda rather than going overseas, because there are some consequences to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, you guys were talking about how, well, I look at it from this way, right? So if you're going to support just one type of business, if everybody thought that way, then all the businesses would only be half as successful as they can be, right? So you sort of really shrink your customer pool almost. Thankfully, for Lindo's as a company, it's the black community. My uncle will tell you right from the start, like, it's the black community that has supported Lindo's for the last 50 years, and we wouldn't be where we are today without the black community. So for me, I think I can understand what you guys are saying. It's an emotive issue. There are lots of things that go along with it and behind the scenes, but generally speaking, I wouldn't, again, I'd be reaching out to the whole community and trying to get the whole community to support my business, as opposed to trying to pick and choose who I'd want to support it. Because, look, if those dollars are just spent over here, then they're not available to spend over there, and may not come back to you in that way, right? So and not everything's about dollars and cents either, right? So, you talk about the charity and the things like that. If you look at where we put charitable dollars, it is in places, it's all over the place. And we try to pick things that are going to benefit the most people in our wider community. We are a small community, right? It's not like we're this big, massive city. We're very much like a city, but it's small. Yeah. So anything that we do is going to affect somebody else on the other side. And I think that's the approach that we take, especially like what you said when it comes to charity. We're trying to support things that are going to benefit the most people and in the most positive ways.
Indeed. And while we're on charity, Lindo's has been partnering with Friends of Hospice for years, right? Speak about the work that you do together and what you have planned for this year, because I remember all the way back then it was the rubber duck derby, and then it was butterfly blast. What's going on now? And just speak to us about that partnership.
Yeah, that's continuing on. Friends of Hospice is going through a change, as you might have seen in the paper, where it's important now. After 26 years, it's recognized that the time is now to move forward and launch programs and services that Friends of Hospice feels are desperately needed within the community. And although the core focus definitely remains palliative and hospice care, they will be expanding the scope to include elder care and some other unmet needs that need to be addressed where there are not enough resources on the island, right? So if you didn't see in the paper the other day, Friends of Hospice has gone out on their own, sort of, from the hospital board, and will be building a new facility up here in Warwick, and it will be operated and owned by Friends of Hospice, and it will provide a wide range of services to the community. So that is the exciting news. That's that's what the core focus will be on, getting that facility built so that we can, so that Friends of Hospice can provide the palliative cares that we already do at Agape House. So that's where we are at the moment. And Lindo's support will remain as with the Butterfly Blast we've already made major contributions towards the capital campaign, as many people already know. But the main thing coming for the future of Friends of Hospice will be that new facility, which will enable us to provide elder care as well as the palliative care. Primary focus will still be on the palliative care, but there will be other things added to that as soon as we can get that facility built. So we're trying to reach out to the community to get it to get the support that we need to build that facility.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. So I remember a couple months ago, you wrote like an op-ed in the Gazette, and we've had these conversations over the past year about the increased cost of goods in Bermuda. So can you explain how and why these costs have increased? Because I just feel like people complain, but they don't take the time to actually understand the context behind it.
Yeah, there's so many different variables as to why the costs have increased. So if we take trucking, let's break that down real quick. So trucking in the US, you had the pandemic, which, a lot of people were out of business or their businesses weren't operating. So you had a sort of a reduced need then for certain types of trucking. So you had some truckers retire, and then you had Amazon, whose delivery business would have gone through the roof, right? So guess who snapped up all the truckers? Amazon, to make those deliveries.
Yep. So
now the truckers that we would have relied on to move our product from A to B to the ports, from whatever vendor we were purchasing from to the ports to get it here, there aren't as many available. So I can tell you that in the last 6 months, I have had, not countless, but I've had a few occasions where they've said, look, I'm sorry, I can't pick up a container this week because there's no truckers available. Wow. That has never happened in the last 30 years of me being in this business. That has never, ever happened, unless it was a hurricane or something and the trucker didn't want to drive. But there has never been a shortage of that labor. And as you can see it all around the U.S., my cousin just came back from Florida, and he said in some of the restaurants, the food and everything was fine, but getting served was the issue because they just don't have the waiters, right? So labor, I guess, because these guys are getting handouts, labor is in short supply because they don't need to work because they're getting paid by the government.
Right.
Then if you take things like wood, you would think that the price of wood wouldn't really have a major effect on us, right? But when you look at why would the price of wood go up 300% during the pandemic? My guess is because you've had people move into the rural areas and they start building, whatever it is that they want, a house, a deck, whatever it might be, because they're spending more time at home. So how does that affect the grocery store? Well, what do you need to build a pallet to put your product on to ship it? You need wood. What do you need to pack groceries in at the end of the counter? You need paper, which is a byproduct of wood. All of these things have gone up. It's sort of like a perfect storm almost that has just, all of these things have converged in one spot in one point in time and is leading to this sort of massive inflation. Thankfully, some of the prices have come down a bit since I have written that article. So the meat prices at that point where it had gone through the roof.
Yeah.
We weren't even ordering tenderloin to put on the shelf because it was so high. Now it's come back to a reasonable level and it's back on the shelf. But you've got to make those decisions. You don't want to put something on the shelf that's not going to sell. But that's kind of like how you would expect it to be, right? The price goes through the roof. Demand is going to slip because the price is too expensive. And then as demand slips, the price is going to sort of correct itself so that it drives a little bit more, people are going to start to buy it again. So it's going to do that kind of up and down roller coaster wave thing for the next for the foreseeable future. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
And we'll just try to take advantage of those dips.
Right. No, that's really interesting because I would have never thought that the price of wood would have increased, and then that would then affect the cost of groceries in Bermuda. That's so like far removed from anything that I would have put. But
well,
it makes sense.
even your packaging where you say the Tide or Gain or whatever detergent that you purchase, that packaging is made out of resins, which comes out of the oil market. If oil's going up, then all of those byproducts that are used to produce the packaging, that all goes up. And then you start getting letters from your suppliers there saying, hey, sorry, we haven't had a price increase in the last 2 years, but here we've got to do one now because of this and that. So all of and the Ever Given, like who would have thought that blocking up the Suez Canal would cause such disruption? So you've had this massive ship that has really slowed down the delivery of products all over the world. It has backed up containers on ports so that there are no spaces to put containers. There's a shortage of 20-foot containers because they ran out of 40-foot containers. So even for us to get a 20-foot container now is not easy. So it's just a really weird time.
Like you said, perfect storm for sure.
Yeah, it is, and it's just a strange thing. I mean, I don't see us having having a problem getting through it. It's just a challenge, right? So we'll get through it. Like when we started the pandemic, we were really concerned about how we were going to get food. But to be honest, working with Minister Raban and working with our vendors and other people and the permanent secretaries and all of the people in government and other vendors on the island, I think we had and we still do, we've got a really solid plan for what to do if the worst happens.
Right.
So we're always going to find a way to get stuff here.
Absolutely.
So that's been good. It's been a good exercise, right? So
absolutely.
Other than that, the pandemic is terrible, but
So with this kind of situation, how do you stay competitive? And I ask because I'm a loyal Lindo's customer. I have been for over a decade. I will not shop for apples. So for me, I'm like, it doesn't matter what Lindo's is charging me. I'm going to shop at Lindo's. But how do you stay competitive?
Yeah, I am. Those are secrets. Hey, look, we do a lot of trying to offer, like Jamal said, value for price, right? We're trying to offer the variety that everybody wants at a reasonable price. I know it sounds crazy to say that prices are reasonable for groceries on the island, but to be honest, they are. If you look at what some of the suggested retails for some of the organic products that I sell, what the suggested retail is in the U.S., I'm not far off of that. And that's from us working hard with our vendors to secure the best pricing that we can get. And we then pass that on to you, the consumer. So when you look at our monthly sales, it's less now because of the pandemic, because the vendors do not have the variety of product that we used to have, and they don't have the advertising dollars that they used to have. But when a vendor passes on a sale to me, you get that, and I also reduce the price. So it's like a double discount for those items. And we try to offer seasonal sales. So it's not like I'm trying to sell you mayonnaise and ketchup at Christmas.
Right.
I probably do have that on sale at Christmas because some people want that. But, for Cup Match, you're going to see your mayonnaise, your mustard, your ketchup, and all the things that will go with that season. And then in at Christmas, you're going to have your chow chows, your chutneys, and all of the things that go with Christmas. So I think that's, some of the stuff that we do, and I think we do it pretty well. You can be better, right? Without a doubt. There's, and I think my mother and sort of her generation are never satisfied with what we're doing. So that helps to keep things ticking along, right?
Absolutely. So I just want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about vaccination. So I know that you guys are going to be offering them on site. Why did you feel the need to do this, and how does it benefit the community?
Yeah, it's quite exciting. So the government reached out to us and asked if we could help drive or help support that initiative. They're driving the initiative. And I think Dr. Hannah Murray, we had a conversation with her and one of the permanent secretaries, Siobhan, last week. And we haven't ironed out all the details. I think primarily, Dr. Hannah Murray wants to engage people in conversation who may not, may be on the anti-vax side of the issue, or maybe just sitting on the fence, not really sure what to do. She wants to be available to answer questions, to dialogue with people about the vaccine. And, you know, if it doesn't get to the point of somebody getting a vaccine, fine. But if it does, then all the better. And it'll be available right there on site where she's having these conversations. And it's just, you know, as you know, Lindo's is busy and there's a lot of people around. So it's a good place to just have, you know, grab somebody and dialogue with them.
Right.
So I think it's pretty exciting because you got the it's been approved, FDA approval now, right? So for all of the people that were sitting on the fence because they were waiting for the FDA approval, well, that's done. So now's a good time to sort of push some of those people over the edge, so to speak, into getting the vaccine. I've had the vaccine, you know, I feel okay, you know, so it's been since March or April, maybe was my second shot. But I can tell you right now, I think the best way to look at it is this. My sister-in-law who lives in Toronto, and she does suffer from blood clots, right? So she was really humming and hawing about whether or not, and they only had the AstraZeneca available in Toronto at the time. And she was humming and hawing about whether or not she should get the vaccine, which is valid. You know, at that time, there was a lot of literature going around about blood clots and whatever else. So she went to the doctor and she said, look, what should I do? And the doctor said, okay, look, right now in Toronto, you got a 1 in 30 chance of getting COVID. If you get the AstraZeneca vaccine, it was whatever, it was 1 in, I don't know, for sake of, without knowing what the actual numbers were, 1 in a million that you could get blood clots from the AstraZeneca vaccine, right? He said the COVID virus also causes blood clots. So there's your numbers. You know, you decide what risk you want to take here, because for me, I'd be getting the vaccine, and as your doctor, I'll do my best to monitor you to make sure that you're going to be all right. But the last thing you want to do is get COVID and have to fight with those blood clots. So, and in the end, she got the vaccine and she's fine. So, it's and we're so blessed on this island, right? I mean,
absolutely.
When you look at it and what we have available to us in the Pfizer vaccine, it's just, you know, take advantage of sort of the gift that we've been given, and make the most of it.
Absolutely. So I see that you guys are going super modern and have a self-checkout. Where is it? Is it at Warwick or Devonshire? Because I haven't seen it, and I shop at Devonshire, unless I'm just not paying attention.
You're not paying attention. So it's right around the customer service desk, right there. So
okay.
Yeah. They're really cool machines. I really like them. You know, it's not going to negate the need for our conventional cash registers,
of course,
and our people there. If anything, it's increased the need for labor because I need people to help people use them.
Right.
And yeah, we've got 2 in operation right now, and they're going well. We got another 2 to put in, which we'll put in after Labor Day, or wait for after the Labor Day rush. yeah, they're pretty sporty machines, I must admit. Like, I was sort of wondering how it was going to go, but I think they're definitely for, yeah, people have used it for big orders as well, but I think primarily for the small orders, and you don't want to be waiting in line when you've got 2 or 3 items. You can just go there, bang the items in, put your credit card in, and off you go. And so far, it's working really well. At Cup Match, I think we did 300 and almost 400 transactions on the self-checkouts.
Wow.
And some of those were quite large orders because people, the lines at Cup Match can be difficult. So, but yeah, they can't do everything. Right?
Of course.
So we can't do case slots and different things like that unless you've got the price for the case itself. But yeah, they're pretty. They're pretty nifty machines. I must admit, they're pretty solid.
All right, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out when I shop this weekend.
Yeah, I've been saying on this show for months that I feel like many businesses, especially grocery stores, are doing a service to the community by having cashiers, because I say it, people can probably recite what I've been saying, but my local Target here in Florida, 22 registers, none of them open, only self-checkout. Even if you have this big case of water, you have to pick it up and
do it yourself.
No, but I think you've eased people's fears, because once people hear self-checkout, Zach, they start to think, oh, this means jobs. And you actually stated before someone can even ask it just now, no, we're going to need more labor. So I think that eases and calms people for now. That said, as we wrap this conversation up, what would you say to the people of Bermuda? Right now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. It's stressful. You've got people that are worried about the rising cost of living in Bermuda. You've got people who are on one side or the other, whether the pandemic's real or not. Yes, that still is a conversation. You've got people on either side as it comes to the vaccination. People in the service industry who have not been able to work because there's less hotels, with the biggest one closing. What would you say as an entrepreneur, business owner, to Bermudians, and what is Lindo's doing to ease the fears and calm Bermudians overall?
Well, we're not stopping. So, if you've been down Lindo's, like you said, Jamal, in the back room, you were down there and you saw all the work that we have done. We would not be doing that work in Devonshire if we were not optimistic about the future, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we've got challenges. There's a lot of challenges, and there's, some serious challenges. And look, we don't have all the answers, but we know that if we keep ticking along, we keep putting one foot in front of the other, then we're all going to get there, right? So we're positive about the future. We have no choice but to be positive about the future. Like this is what I do. This is what we do as a community. We've been through major challenges before. I think of my grandfather and my grandmother, and I think of the World War II rations, and the hoarding of every piece of wood in the shed that you can think of, because you don't know when the next container is going to arrive with wood on it, so you can build something. And they made it. They made it through all of that. Submarines surrounding the island and taking out ships and all of that kind of thing happening around them must have been a very bleak prospect. But they made it, and there's no reason why we can't do the same. So, look, none of this is going to be easy. It's always going to be a challenge, but no matter what, there's always going to be challenges. This is just a very unique one, unique to us, but not unique to history. So when you look throughout history, you've got pandemics that have been around, and if you ever get the chance, pick up the book about the Spanish flu. You want to talk about nurses don't like the sound of Rice Krispies to the day, because people's skin used to sound like Rice Krispies when you turn it. Yeah, see that kind of stuff. So thankfully, we're not there. So.
Well, Zach, thank you. Thank you for Lindo's, for your partnership, and thank you for what you continue to do in Bermuda for Bermudians. And, the doors open monthly for you to come back, but you don't like us that much.
Well, it depends
like
on what
me.
where Liverpool and Man United are in the table. So,
see, I thought we would get the.
Oh, I was going to let it slide.
Listen, you got two United supporters here, so
Yep. All right, Zach, thanks so much, buddy, and we'll be in touch.
All right, talk to you guys later. Thanks for
Zach.
having me. Okay.
Always a great time having Zach. Sonia Clark says very encouraging conversation with Zach. So down to earth and real. We appreciate Zach. We appreciate Linda. So if you enjoyed that conversation, found it helpful, folks, take this. If you nothing else, take this away. Automation doesn't necessarily mean the removal of people.
Mm-hmm.
It may mean improving your skill set so that you can be of use to assist people with technology. So I think there was something said there for people to really have their eyes open. Let's go to the movement moment. We will be right back for and if you get it before Michaela, it's the song day. If you get it before, you win something. Here's Tamara with today's movement moment, folks.
Movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment with Tamara Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamara, what are we discussing today?
Good morning, Jamal, and good morning to your listening audience. We are wrapping up Heights, the Power of Travel. In our last segment, we are going to touch on the different things that I challenge myself to do when I travel. For me, travel is about so much more than just leaving home. I challenge myself whenever I'm in a new place to immerse myself fully in the culture and the community around me. So I give myself a set of challenges whenever I go to a new place. The first thing that I challenge myself to do is to eat something that I wouldn't normally eat. Now, if you have a squeamish stomach, you obviously may not go as far as I've gone, but I have enjoyed from a full entire pigeon on a plate to shark fin soup before I knew that it was, so bad for the environment. And at the time, I was a vegetarian, so I left a smiley with my name on it in Cape Town, South Africa. So I will have to go back and try that. If you don't know what a smiley is, look it up, but brace yourself. The second thing that I challenge myself to do when I travel, especially if I'm traveling alone, is to speak to someone you wouldn't ordinarily speak to. Now, whether it's the person you book a tour with, whether it's the person who you're bartering with in the market, just challenge yourself to talk to someone local, right? Step outside of the scripted, tourist guided conversation and just humble yourself. And you would be so surprised how much more you learn about the place you're visiting when you just make conversation with the people around you. In Bermuda, being a tourist destination, from the compliments I've always seen of Bermuda, it's usually been related to tourists having an interaction with a Bermudian, just a casual interaction that turned into something magical. So I challenge myself whenever I go away to expand my mind in that way. The third thing is I book an adventure. Now, as I get older, adventure takes on new meaning. But anything I've done from zip lining, I have not scuba dived yet. I'm still trying to work my way up to that. But there are many different ways you can have adventure when you travel.
Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamara Donnell or at People's BDA.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
All right. Thanks again to Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. Say it, don't sing it. You know how this goes. If you guess before her, you get something from us. Quote, give you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash. You did. To give me all your love is all I ever ask, because what you don't understand is, end quote.
I know this song and I'm just blanking.
Help her out.
This is an old song. I know that.
Is it?
Is it?
Help her, folks. Help
Oh my
her.
God, I'm like hearing it and it's just not coming. And then I'm going to be irritated because it's going to be obvious.
Help her out, folks. I'll read it one more time.
Yeah, one more time.
Song, quote, gave you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash. You did. To give me all your love is all I ever ask, because what you don't understand is, end quote. Someone got the artist. The name of the song.
Who's the artist? Bruno Mars. Oh yes, you tossed. Yes. Oh God, I'm totally blanking.
I love it.
Oh my God, I'm hearing.
Someone got it. Bruno Mars. Yeah. But what's the name of the song, folks? No one's got it. So, all right, we have it. Raquel Wainwright. It's Bruno Mars, Grenade.
Yes. Grenade. And I'm hearing it, and I'm just like, what is this song called?
I stopped at is, and that's when it goes into the chorus.
Yes, because I'm literally hearing it in my head. Could not remember the name for the life of me.
Oh, I love it. School is back in. We understand.
Listen.
Folks, I actually got Michaela today, folks. We got her.
Blah. Stop gloating.
Yeah, I know. Kels, I know you've got final thoughts on today's show before we get to the inspiration.
I just thought it was a great conversation. The conversation with Zach was fantastic. And I do encourage people to obviously support Black-owned businesses, because I think it's very important for us to circulate our dollars in our community, but at the same time, demand excellence, have high standards, because if we don't have high standards, then what do we actually have?
Indeed. Value for money. I enjoyed the conversation, the question of the morning, as well as Zach. And I hope people share the conversation, because we automatically see automation and we think, oh, jobs are going to be lost, or greed.
Not true.
That word Tamara kept using, greed. No, actually, businesses function to make sure that they're able to, generate revenue, make a profit,
exactly,
maintain their existence, so that jobs can actually be there for you. So, any daily inspiration for us?
I sure do. Ready?
Yep.
All right. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do and liking how you do it. And that is from the great Maya Angelou.
I like that one. On that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications and Linda's, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Michaela, and I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, do make it a great day. Peace.
Cheers.